welcome back to IndieFaith. We are on episode 22. You're with Jules and Mary and a very special guest.
Yoo-hoo! I'm so excited.
Our first guest for 2021.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Gosh. And 22 is actually my birthday, so...
Me too.
Oh, wow.
Okay, cool. That's great. So everyone, I'd love to introduce you guys to Ahre, also known as...
Lawrence Hodge. Kia ora, everybody. It's amazing to be here with you too.
Oh, we love having you.
Thanks. So, what would you like me to talk about?
You know, I'm just gonna start with my icebreaker. Okay, I've got an icebreaker for you guys. What I'm going to do is both of you have lived in Australia and New Zealand, gone to school in Australia and New Zealand. I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
Okay.
Right.
You guys will tell me whether it's Australia or New Zealand.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
so that's what my questions are based on. And then by the end of it, we'll see who's better. Answer honestly and truthfully.
I just met Paul. Who can get all competitive and shit.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, first question. Which has the better schools out of Australia and New Zealand?
As a young Maori person, I would say New Zealand.
Okay. Did you want to elaborate on why, Bob?
Well, you learn about yourself, and like your history is being taught to you. You can learn your culture, and I don't know. I just enjoyed it more. People were like us, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I enjoyed it more there. But that's me.
Sweet.
I'm pretty much the same. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was more like what Ahre said. Like, you see a lot of people that look like you as well.
Yeah.
It was like, well, I was popular back then, and then it came here. You came here, and then I had to like hide my skin color. Yeah.
Okay, so New Zealand's got that one. Okay, next question. Which one has the better anthem?
Easy.
Oh,
New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
excellent.
You just have to sing it now.
And that's the end of our show.
Well, it's great being here.
Okay, next question. Which offers the better opportunities, so job-wise? Remember, answer truthfully and honestly, guys.
I would say here.
Yeah.
Yep.
The difference, I guess, is being here with you can make good money without having qualifications and stuff like that, and it's just easier. But there's rich people back home too, and they're killing it. Like,
Yeah.
I envy that.
So you said the same thing, Cuz?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Which accent do you find more attractive? I love this for you.
I think New Zealand. But depends though.
Yeah,
It depends.
I don't know.
Because you got the Islander New Zealand accent, and then you got the white people.
So in general, so you know how Australia, the typical accent that
Yeah.
Australians have and then the New Zealanders have. Which would you say is more attractive to you? Am I going to get in trouble with Dale for this?
No, they're just accents.
You said Australia.
I don't.
You don't know? Do you want to?
I'll just more attractive. My partner's accent is more attractive.
Great answer. For those of you who don't know, Ahre's partner is Australian.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Dale. Next question. According to expats, out of Oz and NZ, which country ranked higher in having the friendliest people?
Wait, say that again.
So according to expats, out of Australia and New Zealand, which country ranked higher in having the friendliest people?
I feel like people would say New Zealand, but it just depends on your experience.
Why are you guys so nervous?
Because it's like, I can't shit on this country. I love it here.
He's not going to get in trouble. Free speech, guys. I feel like there's so much tension. I would have answered it quick as you're like, New Zealand. Okay.
I'm explaining myself way too much. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine,
New
Bub.
Zealand would be more in that case.
Did you say the same, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the correct answer was New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it actually was the correct answer.
You know what?
Okay, next question. Best place to live out of the two. Which one's better? Best place to live.
I would say, personally, me here.
Okay. Friend of friend.
50-50.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you support in rugby union?
Oh, the All Blacks.
Yes. I'm glad you guys answered that. Nothing against the Wallabies though, but you know.
Well, actually, last year I was kind of going for them because I'm just, the All Blacks always win. And when Australia did beat them, I was like, oh, yay. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, go use. Good luck next week. But, yeah.
That's fine. Okay. Pavlova was first originated where? You know how there's always that debate about, where Pavlova was made first? Where was it actually made first?
Yeah.
What do you say, Kaz?
Yeah, here.
Nah, it was New Zealand.
Damn it.
I don't even like Lamington.
It's Pavlova.
I mean... What the hell? That was what was in my head.
Ugh.
I love the I didn't even like Leamington.
Sorry. Baby brain.
Oh, man. Okay. Vegemite or Marmite?
Vegemite.
Marmite, but preferably neither.
What about you guys?
Oh, shut up. I love Vegemite. You know I love Vegemite. My thing. Okay, last question, and I feel like this is the number one question. Who makes the better pies?
New Zealand.
That's not even a competition.
Not even. Okay. So that was my icebreaker for you guys today. So far, from what I can tell, New Zealand won that round. But we still love you, Australia. Please keep us here.
Never did deport it.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
You guys did so well.
Are you guys citizens here?
Yeah, I was born here.
No.
No.
Oh,
But,
no.
full permanent resident. Yeah.
Yeah, permanent resident, yeah.
Yeah. Same. I was gonna do the citizen.
Yeah.
Auntie and them, but I don't know if I want to give that up.
Yeah, I think because New Zealand's your home.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's one of my resolutions that just never get.
We just talked about resolutions.
Yeah, I know. That's all, that's one of them.
But it takes ages, eh? Like 2 years.
To get citizenship.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Soz guys.
For any of you out there wondering, if you want to take that next step, be prepared to wait.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Moving on.
All right. Okay. So I wanted to know from you because we always get this wrong. I find a lot of people get this word wrong. But how do you correctly say Maori?
Oh, so Maori. Like Maori. Yeah,
Oh, it's
Maori.
Maori.
Yeah, like Maori.
Oh.
Yeah, because I always hear Maori
Yeah.
or
People say Maori, but yeah, it's actually Maori. Like
Maori.
Maori.
Some of my family say I'm Maori.
Yeah. Just, I don't know.
Did I say family? I meant strangers.
No, but because with, in your guys' language, you guys don't roll the R.
Yeah.
So that's,
yeah.
Or you are just saying Maoli, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like Māori.
Yeah.
Māori. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not what we called ourselves. That's the word that that the Pākehās who came to, or the Europeans that came to New Zealand, that was the word that they kind of grouped us all together as. Maori just means normal.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We weren't called Maori people before they came.
What were you
Yeah.
called?
So we just went by our tribes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Learned something today.
So is that like, what does whakapapa mean, bub?
So your whakapapa is, it's your genealogy.
Okay.
It's it's just your line of descent, and most people can trace it back to like heaps of different people. But so basically that's what it is. It's up the line of descent from like as far back as you can possibly go, all the way back down to you, and it's a way that we can connect to other people. So the further we go back, we can even connect into like Samoa, the Cook Islands, Tahiti.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes way back. It's not just us. Like there are people who have the whakapapa that goes all the way back to the islands before we even went to New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you say something, is there a certain thing you guys say?
Oh yeah, so that's our pepeha. So pepeha is how we use like natural things to connect us to where we come from.
Okay.
So so we would say the waka that our people came to New Zealand on, then our mountain, our lake, our rivers, and we talk about all that stuff before we actually talk about the people that we come from and the marae that our family comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like just all these things about connecting us to who we come from and the place that we come from.
Would it be okay if I ask you to say yours?
Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, which side am I going to do? I'll do all of them.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so ko Tainui me te aroa o ku waka. So Tainui and te aroa are the canoes that my people came on. Ko Pohatura, ko Titi Raupenga, ko Matawhaura o ku maunga. So those are my mountains. Oh, you have maunga, eh? Yeah, maunga. We call it maunga. So Pohatura, Titi Raupenga and Matawhaura are my mountains. Ko Taupo me Rotoiti o ku moana. So those are my lakes that my people come from. Ko Waikato te awa. Waikato's my river. Ko Ngāti Raukawa, Ngāti Tuwharetoa, me Ngāti Pikia o ku iwi. So those are my tribes. Ko Ngāti Te Kohera, Ngāti Wairangi, me Ngāti Hinerangi o ku hapu. Those are my sub-tribes that my families belong to. And then ko Mokai, ko Ngāroto, me Tāheke o ku marae. Those are my marae. Ko Angela Rawa ko Ahre Hodge o ku mātua. Those are my parents. And ko Lawrence Hodge Ahre.
That was beautiful. I always love when they do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know you normally like translate in between.
Yeah,
but
no,
like, I just didn't get.
Yeah, no,
That was thank you.
yeah. That was beautiful.
Those are my people, and those are my I love, like, I don't know, just because I go home often, or I'm like, I don't know, it's just this feeling that we get when we go back to where we, where our family come from.
Yeah.
And it's probably the same. Have you been back to Samoa?
I haven't. She has.
I've only been once, but we're not. I don't think we're so much in touch with the land. Like when we go back, we're more identified with like the village that we come from. Yeah. That's about it, but nothing as like in depth as like land and the.
Like it's so our other name that people that we are known by is tangata whenua, which is people of the land, and I guess it's that connection, like the level of connection that we have with land and places. It's ridiculous. Like I love it. It's this. Even as soon as I see New Zealand out of the plane, this feeling in me, I start shaking. When I touch the ground, my whole body is like this.
Wow.
It's like it knows I'm home.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Oh wow.
Where's the tissues? I did it. Oh, Bob.
No, like I'm good. But that's so we have other things like our tūranga waiwai, which is a place where you can stand. You have every right to stand there. So that's like where you come from is your tūranga waiwai. You can stand there and be yourself and
That was so heartfelt. Thank
I
you.
know.
Yeah.
I felt that.
I wish we had that sort of
Yeah.
pride as well in where we're from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
Honestly, like it's awesome. Even when you guys like, if you ever, I bet the next time you do go back, or if you ever do, you will get that feeling. Like,
Yeah.
oh shucks, I'm home. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm home. My ancestors. This is where they come from.
Yeah.
It's that.
I feel like because I was born in New Zealand, I have more a connection to
Yeah.
New Zealand than I do Samoa.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, even when I went to Samoa, I didn't feel like I had any connection.
Like a visitor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I didn't know the place. I didn't know much about my culture then.
Yeah.
But I knew so much about New Zealand because that's where I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Even you know Tree Waifale's song Awhione Loa? Did you guys
Yeah.
watch that?
Oh, I didn't watch it, but I've heard about it.
Oh, so it was like
yes, I've heard-
the most
I've heard it.
Samoan like
Yeah.
video that I've
Yeah.
seen made, and she done it in New Zealand, and it didn't feel out of place. You know, it felt like, oh wow, this is a Samoan
Yeah.
New Zealander's experience, and
Yeah.
she's doing that
yeah.
on the land that
Yeah.
she feels comfortable. And I was
It's
like,
a beautiful
wow.
song.
So
Okay.
I get that.
Yeah. I feel like that only because my partner's Maori. So when I go there, I feel like that's how I fit in.
Yeah.
And I have a daughter from like part of him. So I think that's why I feel that connection.
Yeah, and it's like our mums as well. Like
Yeah.
we were all born in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And that's where we consider home.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
I've never even considered it because not thinking like, oh, I'm Maori, that's my home. Like I know my experience.
Yeah.
It's nice to know what other people's experience is of Aotearoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you come to Australia?
So the first time I came here would have been 94,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
93 maybe.
Yeah.
I was 5. We lived in Sydney. So when we first stayed, we stayed with Nan.
Yeah.
Up in the Blue Mountains. I don't know how they ended up living.
I was going to say Blue Mountains.
Honestly, like Winterlee, like of all places. Yeah, we stayed there for a bit, and then we moved down to the city, but we lived in freaking Emu Plains. Yeah, so we stayed there for a while, and then we moved up to an island in the Northern Territory
Oh, wow.
called Groot Island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like we moved up first, and then all the rest came up there. And
Yeah.
we lived on this tiny little island. It still had like Aboriginal people living on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there was like the little town with white people, and then there was like Aboriginal communities everywhere else.
Yeah.
My dad's uncle had already been living up there, and he was very close with a lot of them. So it was through that I actually got to see a lot of their culture. I was only I turned 7 on the island, but yeah, they were like as traditional can be. Like it was a real eye opener.
Yeah.
We landed there at night, and the next day when I woke up, I just remember thinking, "Where the heck am I? Like seriously, what is this place?"
Where have you brought me?
In the middle of nowhere.
But my first day there, I'm playing outside, and I seen like this frilled-neck lizard, like the lizard. Where have you brought me?
That's how I felt with the cockroaches. And then they started flying.
Wait. Just so we lived up on that island. That was different.
Yeah.
Then we moved back home for a bit, and then I came back to Sydney again 3 years later, and we lived here for a while. We lived in Blacktown at that time, and then from there, my dad's brother had come over, and then we moved. He didn't like Sydney, so we all moved across the country. We all drove to WA.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Drove?
Yeah, drove. Honestly. I still hate car trips to this day.
Were you 2 years older by the time you got to Western Australia?
He was like 17.
I was wiser. No, yeah, so we lived over in a city called Bunbury. We lived down there for a while. We moved up to the Pilbara region and lived in South Headland. That was another eye-opener. We arrived that night, and this place was like all lit up. We're like, oh my gosh, look at the city. Wake up the next day, it's like a plant thing. Like, the dirt was red. We're just like, where are we? Where are we? So we lived there for a while. And that was another community with a lot of Aboriginal people. So, I don't know. That was all right. From there, we went up to Darwin, stayed there for a while, and then moved back down to Sydney. And I went to Plumpton High at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I was like,
The reviews are glowing. And then we moved back to New Zealand, and when I moved back that time, that's when I really got in touch with the culture and stuff, because, a lot of my childhood I'd spent over here, so my parents really wanted me to learn the language and all that, and I did that, and I was convinced I'd never ever move back to Australia. Like, when I'd come for holidays, I hate it here. It just, I don't know. And then I went to uni in New Zealand. That was by force. My mum said, you either go to uni or you can go to WA and you can work with your father. Sus, I'm not. You know damn well I am not cut out to do that. I'm signing up tomorrow. Yes, awesome. So I done that. Done the whole uni thing, got myself into a whole lot of debt with student loans because my dad earned too much money. I wasn't entitled to any kind of benefit.
Yeah.
So the living cost, that's another loan. Done that up until my granddad passed away. Once he passed away, I was like, I don't know how to stay here. I need to go. And that's how I ended up back here, 2010. So that's the long-winded story of when did I come here.
love it. You're being thorough.
In more places in Australia.
I've been everywhere, man.
I legit didn't know this. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh, and so like all those moves that I talked about, those were drives. The only one that wasn't a drive was when we moved up to the island. Everywhere else we drove.
Wow.
We drove. I don't even like driving to Canberra.
Damn. You've seen more of Australia than
In New Zealand.
What was it like when you saw the Indigenous, like the Aboriginals here, like compared to how you grew up, Indigenous to New Zealand?
Yeah.
It was. I think the difference in, like, I'm not talking about the ones that live in the city at all. Like, these people live in remote communities. And so for me, I had always grown up pretty Western, you know. And one of the things that sticks out to me, like, and the sandwiches on the table, we were going camping. No, the sandwiches come into the story. We were going camping, and I remember we were next to this, like, river, Emerald River, and there was Aboriginal people there, and they were eating. They had some kind of animal that was just cooking on the fire, and they were eating it. And this little boy, I remember him having like blood over his face, and he walked over to us, and my dad held out a sandwich, and he said, "Do you want one?" And he grabbed it, and I remember him biting it, and just this white bread being covered in blood, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like that was just one thing that stuck out. But being around them, I remember knowing a lot about the culture up there. Like some of the different laws that they had, even things around how they do their funerals and stuff like that were so different to anything that I had experienced. So, I mean, like at the front of the funeral procession, women with rocks, and like hitting themselves and cutting themselves and doing all that. So back then I remember thinking, whoa, this is so different. But then when I got older and I looked into it, my people used to do that as well.
Wow.
Yeah, as a way of like showing their pain. They would lacerate themselves and like show, like physically showing this pain. And I was like, oh, like thank God that we don't do that. Like my tears are all I've got. Like,
This is all I can give.
Yeah. And so like just different laws, like around in-laws, brother and sister-in-laws not being able to communicate.
Oh.
Yeah, like so if a female was sitting there and her brother-in-law walks into, she turns away.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Just all these different things like that. I just learning this as a kid, not really knowing much, but just a lot.
Because like when I came to Australia, growing up in New Zealand, we learn about we learn the Maori language, we learn a lot of things about the culture. It's really integrated into the society.
Yeah.
Came here and you know that Aboriginal people are like Indigenous.
Yeah.
But you don't know anything about them. You just know that they're troublemakers or something like that. And it's I found that really sad.
Yeah.
Like,
I still do find it sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was actually watching, and this isn't even about them, about us, and I could sort of see the differences of how the society started to build itself up. So when the white people first came to New Zealand, and it was just recently Waitangi Day, so we've got this treaty. With the treaty, the English version says that we give everything to the Queen. Our version says that we keep everything, which is why there's this discrepancy. So for us, we kept our sovereignty. So the treaty signed. During that time, our people down in the Waikato, they've built up this economy. They're exporting overseas to Australia, to America, got everything. And it was the settlers at that time were confined to the cities. And so that's how they started to invade into the rest of the country and burnt crops and destroyed the economy. So the place that my people are, ended up in being very desolate and oppressed was not the place that we started. We were running the country and had our own economy.
Wow.
So these people had moved all the way across, all the way to the bottom of the world and couldn't even get a slice of the pie. So what they done was they brought in 18,000 troops from England to invade us, and then that's how they got us down. Whereas the people here, I don't think that they had that kind of set up yet, and they were just really pressed down from the get go.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad, especially considering they're the oldest culture in the world.
Exactly.
Oldest.
Jeez. How did you find life in Australia, the first time compared to New Zealand?
I remember distinctly not liking it.
Was it the weather?
It was just everything. And because I had grown up around all my cousins. When I went to school back home, I went to school with my cousins. I had heaps of cousins in my town. We were with cousins all the time. So coming here, I had Pauline and Colleen.
Yeah.
They were older than me. They did not want. They didn't want to be around a little kid. Then they had to at times, but I just didn't like it.
Yeah,
I did not like it.
Yeah, it was the weather for me. It was too bloody hot. But then winter was
Too freaking cold.
Cold.
yeah. I think I was in hospital my first year here because I couldn't handle the heat and my asthma.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Actually, my sisters used to have bad asthma here when they were little too.
Yeah.
yeah. So I want to know more about you. What are your passions and your hobbies?
I don't even. So hobbies. I like talking. That's not a real hobby. I guess for me over the last 7 or 8 years, it's really been about finding out who I am as a person and kind of undoing all the little things that I had picked up, all these negative
Traits
and thought patterns
Yeah.
and behavior patterns that I had picked up as defense mechanisms along the way. It was so much so that the version of myself that I was with my family was a completely different person to the one out in the world. I didn't know how to be
both
or just one. Just choose. Yeah, it was around my family I didn't care about anything, and then out in the world I really cared. So yeah, it's really been about getting back in touch with who I really am and undoing all of that. And I guess spirituality I guess has been the way that I've gone about it. I come from a spiritual family. My grandfather's a healer. He's a powerhouse of a healer. And so just stepping into that myself has been a whole thing to learn. Yeah, and just not being scared of that. So yeah, it's not a hobby per se, but it is that's where I spend the majority of my time is in that space.
Yeah.
It's it's about how I can be the best version of myself so that I can be of service to others.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Wow.
It's just like, wow.
Fantastic.
No, it's a hard thing to do though. Like, like I'm going through my own sort of self-development as well. But you're like, you get to that point where like something, I don't know, for me, like something just switched and it's like, nah, I need to change.
Yeah.
Like, I need to change my life. And but it's hard.
For me, it was always, if I walked into a room, and like back then I was a lot smaller. When I first met them, such a skin, so I'm like,
Skunks.
I just thought I was But I thought that, but the way that I felt inside about myself did not match up.
Yeah.
And so it was actually a conversation with Nan, with my auntie, and I went and I was like, what's wrong with me? Like I was... and I've always been this frank with my aunties. I said, when I go places, people stare at me when I'm doing this, like, people laugh. And she goes, people are staring at you because they like you. She goes, they're staring because they think you're hot. I was like, what? And, I was doing very, like, damaging things. Like, I had really, so I would sleep with people to make myself feel good. If they were hot and they wanted me, that made me good.
Yeah.
For that time. Afterwards, I'd fucking cry. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
You can
say whatever you want.
Afterwards, I'd feel like shit and like disgusted because I keep giving myself away. So it was a conversation with her, and like she really was the one who got me started. Like, go. Yeah. And that was years ago, like almost 10 years ago now. That it's just been a journey of just undoing all that.
Yeah.
That rubbish, man. We put ourselves through so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Just as a distraction from what's actually going on.
Yeah, it's like a
inside.
temporary thing.
Yeah.
Like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Putting a Band-Aid on like a freaking amputated arm.
Why is it still bleeding?
No, so like, have you been doing your own self-development and stuff? Because I love hearing about stuff like this.
Yeah. I went to Tony Robbins. I think I can't remember how many years ago, but that was probably
I think it was like a year ago or 2 years ago.
I think 3.
No way.
Yeah, 3 years. I was really good.
Yeah.
And the energy in that room was so good as well. We did the fire walk.
Yeah.
And that was because I'm more an adrenaline junkie than my partner is.
Yeah.
So he was shit scared when he saw the hot rocks. But I was so proud of him. He just like I don't know what was in his mind at the time, but when he did it, it was just like, I think I felt more of it than he did. I was just so proud of him. But he came out the other side and it just felt like he just shed a lot of shit out of his life. Yeah. And then, it was
That was so cool.
Yeah. It was the best experience. It's expensive, but
but worth it.
But it was worth it. Yeah. And then we just started doing like little things here and there. We got into law of attraction for a little bit. A lot of positive energy and watching those sort of.
That's like a lot of people's gateway, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, I remember the law of attraction. It's not like I'm old as I remember that.
Back in the day.
Yesterday.
My auntie had told me to go get a reading, so I went to this lady, got this reading, and she gave me a list of books, and the law of attraction was the second book on the list. The first one was called Conversations with God, and straight away I read them, and then I got it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like just wanted to tell everyone about it, and they literally thought it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So it goes, once you start doing it and you do see that it is happening. For us Polynesians, it goes a bit deeper than just, I want this, it's mine, because we have a lot of things that come through our whakapapa, through our ancestors. So something might have happened 12 generations back that has been passed on to every single generation.
Okay.
And, some families are lucky and that's already been taken care of. Other people, a lot of my people are doing that work today.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you're undoing a lot of stuff. Once that stuff is clear, then the law of attraction works.
Yeah.
But for us, we had a bug and there was a virus and it wasn't working. So so that's a little something without going into it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's your definition, Bub, of what spirituality is?
It's understanding your connection to every single thing.
To the universe?
For me, to me, that's God. So it's understanding God is within and everywhere else around you. And, just watching. When you watch anything happen, you see how great our God is. It's ridiculous. If I had a planet, it would be pretty messed up. But it takes a tiny drop of water to make a seed grow. It takes sun. It's all this stuff all happening at once, and understanding that's God, and I'm a part of that.
Yeah.
And that to me is what my spiritual journey is about. Anyway,
What's that, Bub? Sorry.
Sorry.
just
listen to us breathing. That's the new episode.
We're just reflecting on God.
Spiritually.
I'm feeling it. I'm praying
God
at
is
the moment.
good all the time. Yeah, but it's crazy, man. Every single little thing that happened in your life, it could have been the worst experience that you've ever been through, was needed. Everything was needed. Even when we're in the toughest times, that's what we were meant to be. We need to go through those experiences to grow, and not to hold on to them and be bitter about them.
Yeah.
We can't do that anymore. That's what was happening, and we can't do that for our babies, for the next generation. We can't keep holding on to that stuff and passing it on.
Yeah. You said you came from a very spiritual family.
Yeah.
How were you introduced to it?
So as a child, it was kept away.
Oh.
It was kept right away from all of us. It was scary. We don't talk about that. A lot of it was hidden away, and only the adults spoke about it. It wasn't until I was a teenager that my grandfather really started to, oh no, I'm lying. Now that I look back, it was there more than we were being led on to know.
Oh, okay.
So he used to have this thing where people would come, even people from the Warriors, and he lived 3 hours away from Auckland. He wasn't close, but people from Auckland, from the Warriors, were coming down to get healing from my grandfather. He had this this bed, and he would put it was on top of a hangi, but no food ever went in it. So there was a hangi in there. They would heat up the rocks, and then he'd get leaves from the bush and put them on there. The bread. The bed had no mattress on it. It was just springs with blankets. And these people would lie on this bed and just be steamed with the natural medicine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he'd done that for ages, for heaps of people. And then he started to do more hands-on work with people, so he can just, you know how my dad hugs and he
Yeah.
take it away. My koro goes like this and just wipes it.
Oh, wow.
He wipes it off you.
Yeah.
And even when he was, starting to get sick, he would still walk up to people and rub them like,
Oh, wow.
don't do that. And he's like, no, it's okay. So I guess the healing side of things, we were allowed to see. It was all the other stuff that they kept away from us. There was a lot of heaviness around back when I was a child. So that stuff was just, we weren't allowed to know about all of that.
Oh.
Yeah. Like ghosts and all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
I just remember my childhood being scared.
Yeah.
I was scared.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because you were saying how beautiful and everything,
Yeah.
and then there was like when you mentioned there's a scary side to it. I was
Yeah.
like, what is that scary side?
Yeah, so it's you know how like the yin and yang. How it's like that thing?
Okay, yeah.
So in the lightness, there's a little bit of dark, and in the dark, there's a bit of light. But
Yeah.
it's just like it's a balance.
Yeah.
And even now today, even like walking or working through that balance, I just know which side I prefer.
That's all that matters. So you know how so Jordan is your nephew.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan's my partner. Technically his nephew, but they're around the same. We're
Yeah.
all around the same age.
Like he's my to me, that's my cousin.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is my nephew. 'Cause
Yeah.
His mum's also, that's my cousin.
So, but he would tell me about the is it like a guardian that you have?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
So on my granddad's house, because at that time my sisters were getting spooked every day. It wasn't, I don't know. Yeah, they were getting spooked all the time. Anyway, so there was we call them tohunga in our language. I don't know the Samoan equivalent, but tohunga. And he placed guardians on the house to keep, so that no negative things can get in.
Yeah.
But Granddad seen,
Yeah.
Jordan's granddad seen that thing. I had never seen it before, but I knew what it was. It was like a bird man. In our stories, we have a lot of mystical beings. I shouldn't say mythical. Mystical type beings where they're part animal, part human, and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, so Granddad seen it. I haven't seen it before.
Oh, I thought it was actually like a figure that's already there.
No, it's not. Like you can't touch it like this. No.
Okay.
It's it's mystical.
Okay.
So it's about 9 feet tall, with like a bird's beak and everything.
Yeah.
And then like legs, like human legs, but it's giant. And it kind of would just guard the whole house. There was a couple of them there. I think one of them was an old man. I never seen these things. But you used to be able to feel the difference as soon as you'd get there. Oh. Yeah, like it was under this bubble of safety.
Yeah.
That as soon as you went there, anything that you were carrying would be gone. So yeah, that happened. That all happened around the time of my granddad being sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that was mentioned. You mentioned that story in the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a...
Because it scared me. I was like,
Yeah.
I went to the house. I hope I didn't.
No, so even me, I used to, because I knew that Uncle had seen it, I used to always go outside at the dark, like, where are you?
Show yourself.
I want to know what you look like. But they were all like telling me, like, no, you don't need to see that.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that's how that thing got there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the name or anything. I don't even know if it's still there.
Did you pick up any vibes when you went there?
I just felt a lot of love because your mum and them are living there now in this house. And, I just remember, like, when I got there, I just felt safe.
Yeah.
Even before I even got in the house, we drove in and it just felt different.
Yeah.
But, but the house itself, it just felt it felt familiar, but it wasn't.
Wow.
I don't know if that makes sense. I was just like, yeah, and it's very homey, like you just see all the pictures of all the like children and like heaps of grandchildren.
Yeah.
So it's like everywhere. So yeah, I felt a lot of like, I guess it's love.
Do you guys have any like cultural things that you do? So so like for instance in ours with the pito, you know when your baby's born and they cut the umbilical cord and then that thing falls off?
Yeah.
So we'll bury that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything like similar to that?
We don't do that.
I don't think so. And I think we used to and we lost a lot of it.
Yeah.
Especially when when the missionaries took over.
Yeah.
And then we were all under Christianity.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our
they just
like
conformed to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of our history and all of that just went out the window. So we don't.
So, with us, like it was the same. They still came, and our people converted, but somehow they still were secretly.
That's good though.
Keeping like,
yeah.
Because there was an act called the Tohunga. So I just talked about Tohunga. There was a Tohunga Suppression Act which made all the Maori practices illegal. So our practices were illegal in terms of spirituality. Our language was not allowed to be taught in schools anymore.
Yeah.
So they really did try to wipe it all out, but no. I think the thing that I most love about you guys and your guys' culture is how strong the ngangana is. Because like for us, it's hard. We've really got to try and bring it back. Like it's never left you guys. Like you guys all speak Samoan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of us being Samoan, because he is right in that sense. But I feel like, I don't know, I think with Maori culture, I feel like they have that too, or is that just a misconception?
No, like we do, but it's not. It's pretty much like most Samoans that I meet or that I know, they speak Sa.
Yeah.
But you won't. It's not like that with Māoris.
That's actually true. Jordan doesn't speak Maori.
Like, a lot of them are like, oh no, like I don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sadder even when they don't. Oh, well, it's not sad. Like they don't know. They don't know where they're from and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But even people in New Zealand, there's Māoris in New Zealand that don't know where they come from.
Yeah.
So is Maori language not allowed to be taught in schools now?
No, it is now.
Okay.
But I think that only came about in like the 70s or the 80s, where it actually got done.
Yeah.
So there was a whole wave of activism and protests and all that, and my people have been doing those things forever. But with that came a renaissance of Māori culture and our language and people really wanting it back. So there was a petition that they done, and they got the language to be an official language of New Zealand, and that's how it's. From there we got kohanga reo, which is preschools, to Whakapapa, which is full immersion primary schools, and then wharekura, which are the high schools. So now you can go the whole way through, and then even to tertiary level, all in our language now. Like you can get your whole education te reo Māori. It's amazing. It's
beautiful.
Amazing. It took a lot to get there.
But I think the other thing that contributed to like you guys slowly losing your language is the country was actually westernized.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
So even that's before the wars, where people went overseas to fight for Britain, when they came back, they had seen so much of the world. What happened when they come back to New Zealand is the government started introducing training schemes in the cities.
Yeah.
So that led to like the urbanization of a typically rural culture. People started moving to the cities from like the 40s up to the 60s. And then that's where that disconnect back to the land started, was way back then. Oh,
is there even... I know there's a museum in New Zealand where so they were saying that when the first colony came to New Zealand, they got rid of all the idols.
Yeah.
All the like the totems, and they got rid of all that. But that museum actually found. They found some. So they kept it in that museum, and it's like one of the rarest finds.
And like a lot of our staff. is in Britain. Like they just were going around and like collecting it and sending it back to Britain. And you can't get it. It's really hard to get stuff back.
Yeah.
Even like how the mummies and all that, how they're in England. Like get it back.
It's not yours.
But even like with so this is a thing that not a lot of people know too. So you know how I talked about England bringing in all those troops to invade the tribes? Well, when New Zealand became independent, England built New Zealand for that happening.
Oh.
So New Zealand had to pay back for all those soldiers being sent here. That New Zealand got invoiced for that, and we had to pay that back. And that's how the country took on its first debt, was to England paying for it to be invaded.
Yeah.
It's
I have no words. I don't know what to say to that. What do I say to that?
It's quite, so there's a lot of things that happened, and there's a lot of, like treaty claims processes that have gone through where the money is coming back to the tribes and all that kind of stuff. And that caused a lot of division because when a New Zealander hears the dollar amount, they think, oh my gosh, they just got $250 million. But what they actually pay back in the calculations is like 0.05% of the total rent owed on those lands. So
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a...
Oh, just like...
Yeah, I know. It's very thing. And like, these are things that I've known for a long time, you know, when I was a scholar at university. University dropout. When my mum forced me to go. Like, I did learn some things.
Yeah.
But that's how that all comes about.
Yeah. No, like, I think these sort of things are important for everyone to know.
Even with you guys being Samoans, like the dawn raids, those were a real thing. So what New Zealand was doing at that time is, you know how people come over here, you can get unskilled jobs.
Yeah.
Do that, right. Well, that's what New Zealand was using the islands for. To come and you can work in the factories, you can work in the bush, you can do all that. You've got no rights, but you can do this. And then once then they started raiding people's houses in the middle of the night and deporting them. It took a long time. Even now, I think it's hard. It's still hard for our Samoan whānau to get residency and stuff like that. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
And it's still happening now. Like they come over to do like fruit picking.
Yeah. Seasonal work.
Yeah. And a lot of them are getting screwed over because they don't get paid.
No.
Yeah.
It's rubbish. It's man.
It's very deep.
Yeah.
It's really like hard to talk about.
Then there's us three sitting here with the luxury of really being here.
Yeah.
Totally removed from the realities that some of our families face. It's crazy. It is crazy.
I think going back to the language, I think why Samoa still retains our language is because we still have a country that just speaks predominantly Samoan.
That's true.
So we've never lost that, and even out born here, like we only get that because of our parents.
Yeah,
but I think the generations after will probably they will lose that too.
Oh my gosh, don't.
I feel like I'm trying with my daughter.
Yeah,
because I don't know. It's something about knowing my language that makes me recognize who I am.
Yeah.
And then I want her to know that. It was something big when I even first had her. I was like, she needs to know.
Yeah.
Your mum's Samoan, which means you're Samoan.
Yeah. It's it's even the same for me. It's like, it's not that it makes me more Maori than anyone who isn't, but for me, it's just another window back into my culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that your guys' culture is so strong in the language.
Yeah. I'm actually really grateful for it. Like, I'm not as fluent as a lot of our, other cousins and, fluent, people who speak it quite fluently.
Yeah.
But we still use it.
Yeah. I never appreciated it when I was younger.
True.
Now that I'm older, I'm actually, doing this and getting more in touch with my roots and that. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys found this, but there was a bit there was a part of my life where I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know what it was.
I think it's because we're here in a westernized country. So, like, it's not something that's normal for, like, people here, if that makes sense. Because I just, no one else spoke it. I would speak Samoan at school thinking it's normal.
Yeah.
And then when they wouldn't understand me, they would kind of mock me or make fun of me like I'm speaking like...
Yeah.
Like you fob.
Yeah, and then I would feel like, oh, shame, I'm not supposed to be speaking my language. Like, I'm in an environment where it's not sort of acceptable.
No, I think even more than that, you somehow, I don't know how it gets taught, but you kind of get taught that people who look like you are less than, and you believe that about yourself. Like, I remember in high school, my Maori teacher, he was pretty radical. Like, he was all about, tino ranga tiratanga. Anyway, he said to me, said to a group of us, explain to me what a Maori house looks like. Like, oh my gosh, so run down, like broken down cars parked on the lawns, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, okay, now how many of you live in the house like you just explained? And no one lived in a house like that. Why did we think about ourselves in that way?
Yeah.
And it's the same, like we've just become conditioned to thinking that our people are less than.
Yeah.
And we're not like that. We're not one of them, but they are.
Yeah.
It's
the stereotypes.
Yeah.
And then even like we just constantly do that, and it's like, no, that's not who we are.
Yeah.
We're descendants of warriors and chiefs. Like we are amazing. Our Whakapapa or our genealogy.
Yeah.
We are amazing people. We're the first people to traverse the biggest ocean in the world. Like we done all this stuff and get to this day and be like, oh, we ain't shit. Like no way.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of our people feel.
Yeah.
I feel like that some days, and then I'm like, shit, no.
Yeah.
No, like,
Stop it.
honestly, remember the greatness that you descend from. Like that's all I want to say.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's definitely the stereotypes, but also like when you get told by like say Balangis or in schools, oh, you were savages, oh, you guys were cannibals, and it's like you get like because you're being taught that, and I'm like, oh. Well,
I'll just
no,
hide.
I'm not.
I'll just hide in my corner.
I don't eat people.
Like, these things just keep getting reinforced. And it's like, well, actually, if you really look back into history, your people were the savages. Like, we might have been too, but so were you.
Yeah. Humble yourself.
Yeah, we were savages, but so were you.
Yeah.
I'm not delusional of the things that took place, by my own people before they showed up. Like there was a lot of bad things going on.
Yeah. But I feel like, how does that make it right for them to do that then?
No, it doesn't. So what had happened was before the treaty got signed, this is another off-topic thing, one of the tohunga, he told them, don't sign it. He said, don't sign it. It's not going to be good. Don't sign it. Anyway, they signed it anyway. He came back and said, oh, all of you who didn't listen to me, this is what's going to happen. We're going to suffer as a people for the next 200 years.
Yeah.
And it was about like the repentance of all of, because we had lost our way as a people. Like, I don't know if you know about, like you talked about cannibalism, but we were killing each other. And this stuff would go from generation to generation. Like, I'm going to kill you because your grandfather killed my grandfather.
Yeah,
and it
like the tribal wars.
Yeah, it would go on, and then they would have a marriage between the two, and that would called tatai paunamu, and that would stop that thing between them. So we were doing all this stuff before they showed up. So he talked about being like the cleansing of our people would take 200 years. And then he also talked about, you're at the gateway towards the end when a young woman rises through the ranks of the Labour Party and becomes Prime Minister of New Zealand. So Jacinda, not saying she's good, bad, whatever, she just came up in the prophecy. So like to say that you're nearing the end and that it's going to get harder before it gets easier. But his whole thing was about throughout the whole thing, just keep your eyes up to God and, keep your faith because it's all a part of the process. So, that's...
goosebumps, sorry.
So that stuff, like I was saying, I'm not under no delusions. We were savages. But the cleansing has been about a 200-year process. Wow. We're like 19 years away from it being 200 years. So, come on, my people, get over the line.
You got this.
And yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like I've just filled you guys with so much random
I
stuff
love this
today.
because I know very little, and I have a lot of my partner's Maori, so I have a lot of Maori family, Maori friends.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about them. Like as far as their genealogy, their history, and everything, I know nothing.
Yeah.
So this is really, it's a real eye opener.
Like a lot of our people that moved over here, because our people have come in. This is how bad it was. Like we signed the treaty. We had full rights as British subjects from that time on, so we could move to Australia freely since 1840. It was over 100 years later that Aboriginals were actually recognised as being people on their own land. It wasn't until the 1960s. Before then, they were part of flora and fauna.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
No, I'm loving this because I find that like our generation and then the generation after, we're not going to get in, like we're losing our culture and everything, and that's part of the reason why we did this podcast as well. So thank you, really appreciate the Maori
really
insight.
I'm just like, wow.
Sorry.
No, I mean like, wow, this is amazing stuff.
Yeah.
No, I just think that as Polynesian people, or as people in general, we have no real concept of what it's taken for us to be sitting here today.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean like because our parents moved here, we're here.
Yeah.
Like I mean the lives that were lived just so that we could exist, the things that they have all had to overcome in their lifetimes that we might be here today.
Yeah.
Like even just in the last 100 years, there was like a measles, the Spanish influenza and all that kind of stuff in Samoa.
Yeah.
Like your ancestors survived that so that you could, the Maori movement that they done to the independence. Like there was, the German, the American, the British, the New Zealand people had tried to dominate your country.
Yeah.
And your ancestors survived all of that.
Yeah.
And now you're here.
Yeah.
It's like that's greatness. You descend from greatness. You're here. Use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Honestly, like
Please stop.
I'm saying, like, don't ever lose your Samoanness. It's what makes you special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you special.
Is that like I don't know if you found this in school? A lot of us, full Samoans or full, Tongan or whatever, like I don't know. It's like we have this sort of it's like a humiliation. That we always want to be the half caste, or we always look back in our history to find if we had any sort of other culture. You know what I mean?
That's actually true.
Yeah.
Or the ones with the like even me, my last name's Hodge. Like when people see my name, they think I'm white.
Yeah.
I show up at the interview. Hey, kia ora. And it is that, but it's like owning that, man, because those names. They go back. So my Maori name is Rainkatoa. That's like one of my great-great-great-grandfathers. But like it's all of that. It's just they've done too much in their lifetimes. Like now, where do we take it?
Yeah.
And like you girls are doing this. That's amazing. And it's like, what can you do with this? Like it's a platform that you can just jam people's minds and souls so much.
I love it. No, it's so good.
It's amazing. I'm so excited for you guys. Like,
Yeah, no, thank you.
Just sitting here because I can just feel it. It's like bubbling away. Like,
I'm just the aura in here is just like it's on another level.
I love it. I love it.
How do you feel about other people buying Maori jewelry with like the carvings and that?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I guess I find it funny when it's not from a Maori person.
Okay.
Like, but I mean, you like what you like. I mean, how many people do we know have got like Asian writing on them and stuff like that? Like, See, like, you know, and no one thinks anything of that. Like, I just think
So it's the same with tattoos, like tattoos and the jewelry, or is it different?
I don't know. Like, go get it from a Maori if you are.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. You can be one of two ways about this. You can be really mad and be like, "This is my culture. How dare you?" Or you can be like, "They could have chosen anything in the world, and they've chosen us."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because
it can go both ways.
yeah, we had a in one of our previous episodes we were talking about the Samoan tattoos, and there's that controversy of like should a non-Samoan wear it, or like how do people feel about it? And it's pretty split.
Yeah.
I find pride in like other people wearing like our patterns and stuff, but then I don't know where we draw the line when it comes to like the chief tattoos.
Yeah, like I wouldn't expect to see like a Palangi woman with like, is it malu?
Yeah.
Like if she had malu, I'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Even when like there's a non-Māori woman who got a moko kauai.
I heard of that.
Like, but why? Like, there's some things that are just for us.
Yeah. And it's sacred in a sense, like...
Yeah. Like I can't say it properly, the pea and the malu, like those are, that's you guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect to see anyone wearing that. If they were, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Oos, what are you doing?
Oh, gosh. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So what is your message that you want our audience to take away from this episode?
I guess just understand that you're enough, like as you are. You can do the work, but your starting point is already great. Like you're starting from greatness, and it's just about tapping into that more. You're not changing who you are. Like, even like before we started, how I was like, you're beautiful and you're enough. Like, because like a lot of our people don't get told that.
Yeah.
And for most of us, our biggest false belief is we're not good enough.
Yeah.
That is the biggest lie going. You're not good enough. And so that's been reinforced for us. And I think if you're going to take anything from me, just please understand that you are enough. Right now, as you are, you enough. And
Love it.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. I've loved it.
We're not finished. Why are you trying to
I've
leave
loved it
for?
so much.
Why are you trying to leave
That I
for?
want to continue.
We're nearly finished, but we're not. Okay. Next question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? I will no longer be living in Sydney. I will be living in Brisbane, and I will be in my own house that I want to buy up there.
Yeah.
And living in my purpose, and so helping people to heal, and it's mostly in that space of healing and activating.
Yep.
Them to go forth and really live their purposes. I think that's my biggest job here in this time and space, is to help activate people and like get people going.
Yep.
Come on, like you've lived, you've learned, you've mucked around enough. Now it's time to be great. Go,
do the work.
Yeah, go be great.
Yeah.
It's not even doing the work. Like literally, it can be like one little reading that can change a person's life. And I'm not talking about reading their future, whatever, just giving someone the tools that they've been waiting for their whole life to just activate everything that's been waiting. It's that's all I want to do, is just help people.
That's so beautiful.
I've been emotional this whole freaking... And I'm just like, don't cry. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, it's just, that's just, it's just like giving people the tools that they've been waiting for and crying out for.
Yeah.
And just being that person that tells you, you're enough, man. You're enough.
Yeah.
Your story is valid. Doesn't matter whether, you were born here, New Zealand, freaking Vietnam. Like, you're amazing. Yeah. You're amazing. Everyone's got a purpose.
Preach.
Yeah.
I'll walk out of here like be like, someone was
I'm sorry, like...
Yeah, and it's like it's not about like my people are better than your people, but it's just understanding that you descend from greatness.
Yeah.
You descend from greatness.
And we found that doing this podcast, and like, because we grew up, like, all we knew was Samoan.
Yeah.
But since we're doing this, we're sort of delving into other Polynesian, like, cultures
Yeah.
and that, and learning a little bit about them as
Like
well.
the Pacifica people. And,
Yeah. And it's sort of like, and I don't know, it just brings so much unity.
I feel like I've met a lot of great people already.
The crazy thing about it is that like our experiences are so different, but also so similar.
Yeah.
It's,
No, it's exciting.
I've always
You do
felt that
a podcast, don't you?
Well, I started one off, but I've got 2 episodes and I haven't gone any
Watch
further.
it. It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, after doing this, I'm like, I really need to get back on there.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, like I want to do something with you guys. So that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm down.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Even it was a lot of like Samoans and like other polys that were reaching out to me. I'm like, oh man, you like actually talked about that stuff. Just I don't know.
Because that's what I found that unique about your podcast as well,
Yeah.
was the talking about spirituality, because you don't find that anywhere.
No.
But it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And especially from brown mouths. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it from like an American. I'm sorry. You don't get me.
You don't know me.
Or the British that still have to return it.
Give our stuff back.
Yeah.
So where can people find you though, Bub?
At Just Starts on Instagram will be the best place to find me. That's like where I am the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put a link as well.
JUSTAHDZ.
See that? Memorize it.
Oh my gosh, I've just gotten real hot all of a sudden.
Well, you did talk a lot about a lot of beautiful things that we just didn't know. I literally didn't know anything that I was talking about.
I feel so much pride after this episode.
Yeah, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so
happy.
hyped and so
Like,
good.
Literally, that makes the whole thing worth it.
Yeah.
Just because you feel that,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. And thank you for being on our podcast.
Yeah. Before we go, the sandwiches, guys.
Oh, yes.
Just want to shout out to Mama J's. Oh my gosh, what's it called? The Mama J's. Oh. Talk about something.
Just add the links.
Yeah, I'll add the link. But they make the beautiful sandwiches that we have like all the time, and I order it all the time. So if you're feeling like that, just give them a buzz. We'll add the link. Thank you, Bub.
They're beautiful.
Beautiful, amazing
Honestly.
sandwiches, super fresh, super yum. We ate some, and that's why you can see them.
Yeah.
We were meant to have it like all nice and.
The best is tuna.
I love the tuna one.
Yeah.
But I think they didn't make one this time.
But they're all nice.
I like that, like chili chicken.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good. But I appreciate you both. Thank you so much for
thank
being
you
on our
so much.
podcast.
Guys.
I love it. I wish you all the best. Since you're moving and leaving me.
At least now you've got somewhere in Queensland to come to.
Yes. I'll be in Queensland a lot more now.
So that's Western Australia. That's Queensland.
Yeah.
He'll be in Tasmania next.
Hobart.
What did you call me? Nothing.
Oh, no, I appreciate it.
Loved
Thank you
it.
so much for
Thank
being
you
on
so
here.
much for being our first guest for 2021.
Yeah, and that's a wrap for IndieFaith episode 22. See you in the next episode.